Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Hasbro PulseCon 2020 or San Diego Comic-Con convention exclusive, whatever it ended up being in this crap year of 2020. We have the Logan and Charles Xavier 2-pack from the Logan movie. So this pack is pretty awesome. You can see it's actually super wide compared to the other 2-packs, which I think I ended up throwing the boxes away. I was going to do a side-by-side comparison. Actually, I have the Old Man Logan. You could see it is almost twice as wide, which is pretty cool because Charles is actually on the wheelchair in the packaging. And what's nice is the front and back are the same. It's because we actually get this slip cover. So you can pull the slip cover out, and here you see the packaging. We have the figure, so we see Logan, the 2 claws, the regular clean, and the bloody, the extra head sculpt, and you can see Charles Xavier is actually on the wheelchair, and it lists him as Charles Xavier, not Professor X. Back of the package, we have that same artwork style. The silhouette looks awesome, Charles Xavier and Logan. So, let's open it up. Okay, and here is the Logan and Charles Xavier figures out of the package. Now, in this video, I will be doing a little bit of a comparison as I tumble things over with the previous Professor X. The wheelchair is the same, but I want to do the head sculpt, the Patrick Stewart head sculpts, to kind of line those up and see how those look. Because this one might very well be the best head sculpt Hasbro has ever done for a movie figure as I tumble more things. And then with Logan, I will be doing a little bit of a comparison with this Wolverine as well as the Amazon exclusive Wolverine, which I have somewhere right here because they are all vastly different. So we'll kind of determine which one I think is going to be the best movie representation of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So let's get into it. First, let's start with Professor X. We'll take a closer look at him, his articulation, which really shouldn't do anything, right? But we'll take a look at all the things with him. Okay, so here's a close-up of Charles Xavier. So there's not really a whole lot to show because, you know, he's not like he's going to be standing around, walking around for me to show you guys. But I do have to comment on this head sculpt because I think it is absolutely amazing and quite possibly the best one that Hasbro has ever done for a movie figure, any figure, because this thing is just screams Patrick Stewart. Even the quote-unquote younger Patrick Stewart, I mean, this is the actual one from, you know, the older Xmen movies. This one I thought looked really good, but looking at him side by side now, I'm like, oh damn, his lips are just too dark colored on this one. But this thing is absolutely fantastic. Logan is okay too. I don't see that much Hugh Jackman in this one, to be honest with you. I mean, it looks good, sure, for what it, but comparing to Hugh Jackman, I just don't see it as much. But this is purely 1000% Patrick Stewart. Like, it's insane how good this head sculpt is. I mean, just look at that. That is absolutely incredible. They put the liver spots throughout. They got the wrinkles, the white hair for his little beard, his little straggly hairs in the back. This head sculpt is just absolutely amazing. I can't get over how good that looks. The figure itself, not a whole lot going for it. It's basically like the Peter Parker Stan Lee figure. The arms and everything are the same. The difference, obviously, of course, there's no jacket, but the shirt's the same, but he's got this rubber sweater piece that's just over it. It's not something that you'd be able to remove unless you pop the arms off kind of thing, but that looks good. The wrinkles of it are kind of nice, you know, especially looking like, you know, he's sitting down and kind of bunched up. It's a little bulky because when you have a rubber piece, it's kind of thick. You know, that's kind of what's going to happen. It doesn't look bad, but if you really look at it closely, then you notice that it looks a little baggy and bulky, but, you know, it definitely doesn't look bad. Looking at the wheelchair, this is the same one that comes in the Magneto 2-pack. That's why, you know, that one in the 2-pack doesn't have, like, the X for the wheels. Ryan Ting even said that, you know, they wanted to be able to reuse it, so they didn't want a specific design that wouldn't then be, I guess, accurate to other things. But then I guess this one would be accurate to this pack, but then the other one isn't accurate. So it's just one of those give and take things. I don't mind that it doesn't have the X. You know, definitely would have been nicer to have that, but, you know, at least we get a wheelchair. Black wheels, and they do have a rubber piece for the tires. As you can see, it's kind of a separate piece that you can actually remove and stuff and kind of fit right back on there. So these wheels spin, not great. As you can see, they kind of suddenly stop. They're on the same axle, so they spin together. The little wheels don't spin, so we just get some black paint there. We get brown paint for these armrests, and then the seat itself is done in a brown plastic and is just like clipped on, so you can actually take the wheelchair apart if you really wanted to. So that's okay. It's kind of cheaply done in my opinion, because it's just this gray color that they use. It just looks cheap to me. Like, I don't mind that they did it. It makes sense. I just hate the color of the plastic itself. It's so just, I don't know what it is about it. It's, you know, when I talk about like a lot of the weapons and stuff that come like this, that's kind of what I'm referring to. It's the same exact thing. But there is Charles Xavier. Now let's look at Logan. Okay, so a close-up of the Logan. So the Logan, I think just looks okay. The details of it are quite nice. The sculpt of it is very nice. A little bit of gray in the beard. We get a little bit of extra hairs outside of the sculpt that's painted on there. We actually get that neck beard going on there. So it's done very nice. We get this lightish brownish color, a little bit lighter than his beard. Actually at the top of his head, like it really was in the movie. The battle damage, the scars, the blood, the cuts, everything about this head sculpt is really good. However, when it comes to the resemblance to Hugh Jackman, I just don't see it nearly as much. But don't get me wrong, it's very well done. But the Hugh Jackman resemblance is a little lacking for me, and I don't know. I'm not sure why. I mean, because it does look very, very good. I think the relaxed head sculpt is much better than the screaming head sculpt, which I think is the same when it comes to like the Amazon exclusive Hugh Jackman. I think the relaxed head sculpt is much better than the angry head sculpt, as you can see. And then the other one, I think, again, the relaxed head sculpt is much better than the screaming head sculpt. So I'm not sure what it is when it comes to Hugh Jackman Wolverine and relaxed head sculpts and screaming head sculpts. For whatever reason, Hasbro just seems to get the relaxed heads a little bit better than those screaming expression faces. But that looks really good. The rest of the body, not a whole lot going on. It looks like we have a new upper torso, new jacket, new arms. I could be wrong on those. But the lower half is the same exact thing as the Nick Fury from the Kree Sentry Wave. So as you could see, the feet, everything the same from the waist down, but different torsos, different jackets, different arms. So just the legs are the same from Nick Fury. So the original suited body, like the chameleon figure, obviously is not the same because Charles Xavier uses those same legs. So it's not the same. So we actually get some new stuff going on here. So that is pretty cool. So I'm going to pop this head off, and let's actually put the screaming head on there. And you know, this one's not bad either. This one's done very nice as well. And we get a little bit different deco in terms of the battle damage. Like right here at the top of the forehead on the relaxed one, we get a little bit of blood there. We don't really get that on this one, but we do get a cut above his left eye that is not present on this one. So that is pretty cool. We get the sculpted teeth and tongue and everything. You know, we didn't get a uvula like we did on Thunderstrike. Not sure what's going on with that, Hasbro. Come on now. Do it on a comic figure, but not a movie figure? But still looks really good. And then we just have an issue with a lot of gappage on the back of the head. And that goes the same with both of the head sculpts, where we see that gap on the dumbbell joint. So that's pretty unfortunate. The accessories that Logan comes with, you know, he has that additional interchangeable head, and then he has 2 sets of claws. So we get regular, clean blades. Those look very good. These are the same ones that come with like the Amazon exclusive. It's the only one that I've opened so far. And then we get the blood splatter ones. These look incredible. You know, leave it to like a convention exclusives or something for them to be able to do this type of thing. I don't think this is something that you would see at retail. We've seen some blood, a little bit, you know, like the Punisher Netflix figure. They do some things like that, but when it comes to like the blades and all the weapons, there's no way they would do this for a mass retail release. There's a lot more on this one as well. So, you know, when they do the PulseCon exclusive, the San Diego exclusives, the Comic-Con, then they could do things like this, and it just looks absolutely incredible. So kudos to Hasbro for that. Now let's zoom out and look at Logan's articulation and Charles Xavier's articulation. Okay, so Charles Xavier's articulation, I've always had a hard time with these figures trying to get them to stand. Good thing for Charles Xavier, he wouldn't stand anyway, so I guess it really works out. Yikes, right? We have a waist swivel there. The legs, they go out that far apart. He can kick forward that much if you needed him to. Goes back a tiny bit, upper thigh cut, double jointed knee. The feet are kind of crappy. You get a tiny hinge going down, a little tiny bit hinge going up. You get some ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet that are absolutely worthless. They won't work for anything. And so you can get him into the seated poses, not a problem for his wheelchair. So that's what's good about the legs. The upper torso, getting his head to look up. You can look up that far, which is great. He can look down. Of course, you get the side to side, the rotation. You get not a whole lot of pivot, but some pivot in there. Arm can go up that high. You can go to full rotation, upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow, which gives you really good bend there. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. Now for the ab crunch, there is an ab crunch in there, but you're not going to get much use out of it because of this sweater. Just really gets in the way. But the important thing is you can get him into the seated position so he can get onto his wheelchair just fine. So that's the important thing with Charles Xavier as he slides on out. So now let's take a look at Logan's articulation. So Logan, he can't really look down a whole lot because of that dumbbell joint. I'm not a big fan of the dumbbell joint, but I get that it has more natural movement, but you don't get a lot of movement sometimes. So looking up is only that much. You're just not going to get a lot going on in there. You can get all kinds of pivot though, so that's what's good about the dumbbell joint. But that's it. And then, of course, full rotation. Arms go out that far. You can get a full rotation, upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, which works out really well. Wrists swivel, and they hinge. You have an ab crunch. It crunches forward that much. Can't really crunch back because the jacket does get in the way and hinder that a little bit. You have a waist swivel in there. Legs go out very far apart. You can't kick forward that high. That leg doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut, double jointed knee. And then a foot, you get a decent hinge going down, tiny bit going up, ankle pivot, and you do have a peg hole that's actually at the middle of the foot and not the heel, so you can actually get some use out of that peg hole there. So Logan has good articulation. Now let's pop on some of these claws. So just pull the hand out, pull the other hand out, pop these claws in there. Where's my other bloody? There it is. And bam, you have Logan with the bloody claws. And that looks really nice. Really loving that. Okay, so we know that Hasbro has never been the best when it comes to scale of figures, but actually looking at these three Wolverines together, I think they did a decent job. I was very worried that the Logan figure would be much smaller or shorter in comparison to the others, but I'm glad to see that for the most part it's the same, right? Bulkiness obviously isn't there. The Amazon one looks the bulkiest because we have those arms that are exposed, so the shoulder balls are a lot larger than these two figures, so he naturally looks a little bit bigger that way. But height-wise, for the most part, they are about the same, so that is a good thing. I was really worried about that. But they all look really good together. But again, the screaming faces just aren't the best. So relaxed faces for Hugh Jackman are definitely the way to go. But all of these figures do look really good, and I'm extremely happy to get more movie figures. As an MCU collector, movie figures are what I love more than anything. So even though these aren't MCU, I'm still very pleased with the movie figures and the quality that Hasbro gives us. So I would have loved to have seen so many other figures from the X-Men movies. However, there's only so many they could release in the anniversary line. It's always limited to 10 or 11, maybe 12 packs per year. So maybe in a few years we'll see some more. Who knows how they may end up doing it, but I definitely would like to see more. But you guys let me know which one is your favorite out of these three. And I think I love the Amazon one, but I think I'm leaning towards this one without that head sculpt, of course, because the detail of the denim, I love the jacket. That's an awesome look. So that one's probably going to be my favorite, even though I really haven't reviewed that yet. Hopefully I will soon, but I'm thinking that's going to be my favorite out of the bunch. But you guys let me know which is yours. And in kind of doing my best when it comes to showing what was going on in the Logan movie when Charles was having his seizures or whatever they were, and everyone was just kind of going crazy because it was all affecting their minds and their bodies and everything. So kind of going for that look. It's a very fun 2-pack, one that I never thought we would see coming because Hasbro has specifically said no figures for R-rated movies. Deadpool 2 was the exception because Deadpool 2 had a PG-13 theatrical release. So that was a kind of a loophole. Logan, there is no loophole, right? There was 2 versions of the movie. There was a regular version and then a black and white version. It didn't change the rating, still rated R. But yes, this is one that would not go to retail, so okay, it makes sense in that way because they could do it as an exclusive that was supposed to be Comic-Con, and then through Pulse, of course, for the 1 day, or this year 2 days. So it makes sense because they will not be hitting stores. Hasbro can make that exception, I guess. That's news to us. So could we see other rated R properties in the future when it comes to other things? Yeah, maybe so. The only thing is there were only 2 rated R, X-Men movies, and that was Logan and Deadpool. But Deadpool 2, we got that exception. So maybe if they were to revisit things like Blade, the Blade movie, Wesley Snipes' Blade, or something like that, could we see that as like a Pulse exclusive or Comic-Con exclusive or something like that? Maybe. I think it's probably a little past that. I don't know. I mean, I think lots of people would still want it, of course, but I think we're definitely long past that. So it would kind of be interesting to see what would kind of happen in the future. But you guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on these figures. I think they're fantastic. I'm also curious, did you get 2 of these? Because lots of people have been reporting in that they had 2 shipped to them. Mine finally shipped out recently, but thank you to my friend Rick. He actually hooked me up with an awesome trade to get this 2-pack. He had an extra one. Because mine just took forever to ship, but it finally shipped yesterday, and it's going to take like over a week to get here. It's planned for October 20th, so hopefully mine comes soon. I got 4 items coming in 3 boxes, so if they missed out on one, hopefully it's this one they missed out on, since I do have it now. But if you guys liked the video, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.